Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hash It Out Show. I'm your host, JB, your sports guy. On tonight's show, we got a special guest. He is a national champion baseball coach. He coached the LSU Tigers to a national championship in baseball in the year of 2009. Former LSU baseball coach Paul Mainieri will join us live on the show. We also have the head coach of the Nunez baseball team, Coach Glenn Powell, joining us later on to discuss, you know, what came about with this Nunez program to get started in 2017 and this big series coming up against Delgado. And also, we'll talk about some UFC over the past weekend, and we'll get right into the Pelicans. But first, I can't forget about my good friend, the man that's never had a loss of words. You can catch him on CrescentCitySports.com, the one, the only, VK Jones. VK, what's going on?
What's going on, my brother? What's going on, everybody? We thank you for joining us. Like, share, and subscribe to JB, your sports guy on YouTube, Deshaun Jones on YouTube, and also on Facebook. Like, tag, and share this broadcast. It's a special broadcast today. We gone all out to try to get this show here, and also on behalf of myself, the Jones family, and the Carson family, we would like to say thank you to each and everybody who sent their love and condolences to me and everything else. And the life and legacy of LaShondra Carson Jones will continue to live on as we go forward. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very, very much as we move forward. We know God is gaining another soldier in heaven, and we're going to continue to push on going forward. So, but we continue to pray for us as a family.
Most definitely, my brother, most definitely. VK, in about 20 minutes, the Pelicans will take the court as they will take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Loser is out. Winner goes to Minnesota. What are your thoughts about the game tonight?
Man, it's gonna be an intense ball game tonight. It's gonna be an intense ball game, and the question is gonna be which Pelican team is gonna show up. Which Pelican team is gonna show up? Is it the Pelicans team that has the playoff experience already to go handle the business and take care of it, or is it gonna be the Pelicans team that's been up and down in most of the second half of the season and wound up losing some games that they shouldn't even lost to? So it's gonna be a Jekyll and Hyde kind of game tonight. Oklahoma City is, I tell you one thing, they got a bright future. They're young, but they got a really bright future. And I'll tell you one thing about Oklahoma City. If they win or lose, regardless of the fact, if things go right for the Thunder in the offseason, could it be a possibility the Thunder might get one of the top 3 picks in the NBA draft? And I mean, wow. I guess OKC might have their chance of redemption if they get their guy that they're thinking about getting. And I tell you, Big Vic and that boy from Gonzaga, if he stay healthy, that's kind of a scary combination going in the Western Conference. So, but the Pelicans should win, but I'm not underestimating OKC, none at all in this game tonight. It's do or die. If the Pelicans could do, if the Pelicans do what they're supposed to do, they should win.
They should win. Just like they should have won the other day against Minnesota and should have played in Los Angeles. Look, right now, I don't know what the morale of this team is like, especially with Zion coming out and saying he is not mentally ready to play at all. But you physically you're ready. I don't get this. I don't get it at all. What are we paying you for? I mean, dude, it's the playoff time. Your team needs you. You're physically ready, but mentally you're not. I don't understand it. And with Zion, we're definitely not losing this game tonight or the game on Friday night if they were to win. I don't get it. I don't understand it. But I'm not in Zion's head. So I don't know I don't know what's in his head, but Zion knows himself better than anybody. That is what I can say. But I've competed with ankle sprains, chip bones and kneecaps, torn labrums. I think you get out there and play. What do you think?
I say the same thing too. I say that he should get out there more than anything else. And he's got in the beginning of the season, it was amazing how much he really wanted this season. Very, very bad. He really wanted this. He really wanted to play and everything else. Now you're not mentally ready. And I'm like this. I'm not gonna say what I really want to say.
Please don't.
Because no, I usually go off the rails when I'm not going to do that. Zion is a great talent, but he's seeing this. I'm sorry. I think it's time for Zion to go. It's time for him to go. I'm sorry. I wish him well. I wish him the best. Despite the deal that the big $200 million extension. I'm sorry. It's time for him to go. Him and Michael Thomas they gotta hit it. They gotta hit it.
Both of them gotta hit it. Both of them.
We it's just the fact if you can't stay healthy to get out there on the court or on the field, why are you here? You have to go somewhere else. Like, don't get me wrong. Zion is the one person I want more than anything else than Michael Thomas to go out there and be successful.
I want them both.
I want him I'm not going to say both because Michael Thomas got a little too cocky for his own self. Now, I do want Michael Thomas to do good deep down. But at the same time, Michael Thomas should have just kept his mouth shut, do what he needed to do, get himself healthy, and get back on the field. And that's all it is. But he didn't do that. And still not on the field at all. To me, as a New Orleans fan, we're wasting not just money, we're wasting time. We're wasting time. We can't waste time. Saints right now is an understandability because the fact of the matter is they're in a rebuilding mode. So yeah, he's got the rollout. Zion, it's a waste of time in itself because the Pelicans are in a mode to try to win now. He's trying to win now. Yeah, yeah. That's what we're getting back into, James. That's what we're getting back into. Right. He's got to go, my man. That's what he's got to do.
Well, let's get to our special guest. Let's bring him on in, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said earlier, this guy coached LSU from 2007 to 2021. Got LSU to 2 College World Series, winning in 2009 against Texas. Our special guest, Coach Paul Mainieri. Coach, thank you for joining us. And how are you doing today?
Good to be with you guys. How you doing?
We're doing good, Coach.
Good, Coach.
Coach, I was doing my research, and I did not know this. I did not know that you had played at LSU and at UNO. Please talk about that for a little bit.
Well, I grew up the son of a really successful junior college baseball coach in Miami, Florida, and it was always my dream just to play for him. Recruiting was much different back in 1975 when I graduated from high school. We didn't have all these showcases and all these recruiting services, and a lot of recruiting was just done by phone calls, and you were happy if the local school recruited you. And I didn't care about any of that. I just wanted to play for my father. But then in my junior year, in the spring of my junior year, LSU came down to Miami, which is where I grew up in Miami, Florida. And I went out to watch my dad's game, as I typically do. And they were playing LSU in an exhibition game because my dad's team only had freshmen and sophomores. So LSU used just their freshmen and sophomores. And man, I grew up a big Pete Maravich fan and followed LSU football. And man, that purple and gold just kind of grabs you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes. So I met the coach, and he said, "I'm gonna bring you up in the fall for a visit." So I said, okay, sure. Well, I came up for a football game and just like everybody else got blown away by the whole atmosphere on campus. So I decided that I was going to forego playing for my father and come to LSU. But, those heartstrings were kind of tugging on me all year that I was here. And I just didn't want to lose that opportunity to play for my dad. And so I transferred back as a sophomore so I could play for him, not miss that experience. But after my sophomore year, my eligibility was up at the junior college, so I had to look for a new place to go. And believe it or not, at that time, UNO baseball was much more challenging and a tougher program than LSU was. LSU had a wonderful coach by the name of Jimmy Smith, but Jimmy Smith's main job was he was the equipment manager for the football team. So he was really a part-time coach in baseball. Can you imagine that as you look at the baseball program now? But I just felt UNO's program would challenge me more. And, I looked at a lot of big schools, but UNO had a gritty coach by the name of Ron Maestri. And I fell in love with the guy after talking to him for about 10 minutes. And man, I'll tell you, I never regretted going to play for him because he was tough. I mean, he was tough on you, but he was a great coach and he got the best out of you. And I wanted to find out how good I was. I didn't just wanted to be a starting player at LSU. I wanted to find out if I was good enough to play in the major leagues someday. Found out I was good enough to play a little bit of professional baseball, but not enough I wasn't good enough to get to the big league. So I couldn't lay off that high fastball. That high fastball drove me right into coaching, if you know what I mean. So that was it. That was my playing career.
Wow. I'm going to ask you this, Coach, right quick. It's amazing hearing that you're from Florida. And I didn't realize this, and I watched an SEC story about the LSU baseball program. It's great to discover that two of the greatest coaches that have come out of LSU baseball came out of Miami, Florida.
Isn't that something?
Skip Bertman and yourself.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. Like you know that Miami baseball is something else, but it takes two guys from out there to come down to Louisiana and bring that excitement over there.
Well, obviously, Skip was the father of the modern day LSU success. And but I knew Skip when I was young. Believe it or not, our families knew each other. Skip was a high school baseball coach at Miami Beach High School. My dad was the coach at Miami-Dade Community College. So Skip used to feed players to my father's program. And every so often, our families would get together. I was 10, 11 years old when I met Skip, and he used to work with me on my hitting. So I'm here to dispel the myth that Skip was a great coach. If you ever saw me hit, then you'd say, Skip's not such a great coach after all, after he worked with me. But, so when I came to LSU long before Skip was here. And even though I left, I always had my heart at LSU. I met my future wife here. I just loved the place, but I just needed to go back and play for my dad. But anyway, his, when Skip became the baseball coach here, I had just kind of started out my coaching career myself and at a small school in Miami to begin with. Then I went to United States Air Force Academy when I was 30 years old. I was the very first civilian baseball coach that they had there. And then I went on to Notre Dame and, of course, finished here at LSU. But during my years at St. Thomas and Miami and Air Force and Notre Dame, I followed the LSU program so closely because of me having gone to school here and because of my affection for Skip. And what a job he did. I mean, he just not only transformed the baseball program at LSU, but he transformed all of college baseball into something that was relevant. He started getting fans coming to the games. You win national championships. The baseball program became financially self-sufficient. And, that's how it works. Usually it's just football and basketball, but at LSU, the baseball program actually pays for itself and makes a little money for the coffers as well. So when that's the case, the program gets treated much differently than it would at a Notre Dame or an Air Force where, it's like just a hole where money goes in and never comes back out. So, when Skip called me to become the coach at LSU, I was really happy at Notre Dame. I know LSU fans don't like to hear that, but I really was. It was a great place. Two of my children went to school there, and the weather wasn't so great. But I turned down several other coaching jobs while I was at Notre Dame, and not really in hopes that Skip would call one day, but it kind of worked out that way. And then when Skip called and, really emphatically told me he wanted to be the coach here, I mean, how do you say no to Skip? You know, he had built a phenomenal program, and he wanted me to be the custodian of that program, and I was so terribly flattered. And I came here and, you know, didn't regret it at all. I loved every second I was the coach. Felt very privileged to be the coach here.
Before you came to LSU, and I'm gonna let you continue, Jared. I don't want to interrupt you, but at the time when you took, I'll tell you one thing, Coach. No disrespect to Smoke Laval. When the move was about to be made to choose you as head coach, and I've been covering sports for a long time, I just knew right then and there. I'm like, this is the guy. Anytime you take a program like Notre Dame to the College World Series, a northern program, not too many northern programs go deep in postseason. So when that happened, to me, I was like, LSU got the right guy. They got the right guy to take over and the right guy that can take LSU and keep them staying right where they are. And I think you did an unbelievable job doing that.
I really appreciate that. It means an awful lot to me to hear you say that. And really, you know, no disrespect to Smoke either, because it's really tough to be the guy that follows the guy. Sometimes it's better to be the guy that follows the guy that follows the guy, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yes.
And, you know, Smoke went to a couple of World Series, and he recruited some good players that I inherited in their freshman year. He recruited them to coach them, you know, Blake Dean and Sean Ochenko Ryan, guys like that. And, we had a great time with those players. And, you know, I just always felt that there was magic in the name LSU, regardless of the sport. And it's a national brand. And I felt that if we came here and worked really hard, you know, I could find, you know, one time I left LSU as a player to find out how good I could be as a player. I felt like I needed to come back to LSU to find out how good I could be as a coach, because, you know, you're going to have the resources here and you're going to have access to the best players in the country. You got great fan base. You got beautiful stadium. If you can't get it done here, you can't get it done anywhere. And I wanted to find out, you know, I was almost 50 years old, and I needed to find out if, given those resources at a wonderful school like LSU, could we win the national championship? Could we get to Omaha on a fairly regular basis? And, you know, there's always disappointment. You always want to do more. You always feel like you could have done more, had a few breaks here or there. But, you know, we went 5 times. We actually, people probably don't realize this, but we won 9 regionals in my 14 full years. We lost 1 year because of the pandemic. And, you know, first year we didn't have a real strong team. So give me a hall pass on the first year. So, you know, we had won 9 regionals out of the other 13 years. But, you know, in Skip's last 3 years and then throughout my tenure, and obviously it continues, used to be if you won a regional, you went straight to Omaha. Now you got to win a super regional. And
Right.
You know, we won 5 of those super regionals, but unfortunately we lost 4 of them as well. And, you know, those still stick in my side, but that doesn't mean we didn't have a good year in a lot of ways. We just didn't win the last game of the year.
Coach, I want to go back to your second season at LSU, the 2008 season.
Oh, yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Oh, great. You guys started off struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Then you guys won your regional and you won your super regional and got to the College World Series for the first time since 2004. What was the turning point in that season?
I'll tell you, I can remember like it was yesterday. So the first year, as I mentioned, you know, was a struggle. See, back in my whole career here, we couldn't go out and get transfers that would immediately come in and be eligible. So really, you had to recruit the players, develop them, and it was going to take you 2 or 3 years to really see them fulfill their potential. You know, the coaches nowadays, not just the baseball coach, but Brian in football, et cetera, Kim in women's basketball, she could go out and get transfers that could immediately come in and help you. Couldn't do that, you know, when I first started here. So during my first year, while we were kind of struggling on the field, we really worked our rear ends off recruiting wise. We brought in the #1 recruiting class in the country. So they were going to be freshmen or junior college transfers in my second year here. So I knew we had a much better team going into that year. And I even told the players, because we had been picked that year to finish 5th in the SEC West. And I told the players before the season began that 2008 will be the last time LSU baseball will ever be taken lightly again. I knew we were going to get it done that year. Well, we vault out to a 23-16 record.
Right.
I think we're in a 10th place out of 12 teams, with 4 weeks to go. And we had just played Georgia the weekend before. Georgia was unequivocally the number 1 team in the country. And we played our tails off against them, but just lost, 10-9, 7-6, just we were this close, And then on Tuesday, we went to play at Tulane. And I met with the team before the game, and I told them, I said, I was really proud of the way you guys fought like crazy this last weekend. We're 1 pitch away. We're 1 hit away. We're 1 play away. And we're gonna get this thing on a roll. Well, that night at Tulane, we were in the 8th inning. We were losing 4-3. We had runners on 2nd and 3rd, and a freshman by the name of DJ LeMahieu stepped up and ripped a 2-run single to give us the lead. We tacked on a couple more, held Tulane off, and Tulane really had a great team. And we won the game that night. And I told the guys after, I said, I told you this is what we did tonight. 1 more pitch, 1 more good at bat, 1 more play, and we're going to have great victories like this. Well, little did I know that would be game 1 of a 23-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
So we went from being, 10th place out of 12 teams to winning the SEC West, to be in the national seed, which meant we got to host a regional. If we won the regional, we got to host a super regional. And this was the last season of the old box, which had had so many years of great history.
Yes.
So we hosted a regional. The last 4 weeks of the regular season, we swept all 16 games, including 4 SEC series. That's never been done before, and it's never been done after, to sweep 4 straight SEC series. So that took us from the cellar basically to the top. And then we went to the SEC tournament and we swept 4 games there. Then we swept the regional. We had our 23-game winning streak broken in game 1 against Irvine. They pulled a hidden ball trick on us where the umpire called LeMahieu out at second base with the bases loaded, and he wasn't even looking at the play. My first base coach, Javi Sanchez, got ejected. I was just totally lost it to the umpire, but he didn't throw me out of the game. Well, we ended up losing that game, but the next night we were up against the wall. If we lose, the season's over. And we rallied to win the game in the 8th and 9th inning. And then the next night we blew them out in the last game ever in old Alex Box Stadium. So even though we didn't win the national championship, we went 1-2 in Omaha. It really set the stage for the next year, which is when we moved into the new box. We were preseason number 1 in the country, and we went wire to wire and won the national championship. So that 2-year period, I think, just kind of got LSU back established as one of the top teams, if not the top team in the country. And we had some great teams after that. We just, came up a little bit short. One year we went to Omaha with a 57-9 record, which was already the SEC record for wins. But we just we lost a 2-1 game in Omaha when Alex Bregman, of all people, made an error in the 8th inning to allow the winning run to score. I mean, fluky things like that would happen. I realized later just how hard it is to win a national championship.
I want to go to the 2009 season. You already mentioned it. We won the national championship. You were preseason ranked number 1, like you said. But I want to go to game 3 of the championship game against Texas. And I remember it like yesterday. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I'm getting ready to go take a class. And the bats for LSU were on fire immediately. What did you tell your team to get them motivated to go out there and win this national championship for LSU?
Well, we were on the bus on the way to the game, and we stopped, and there were thousands of fans waiting outside the bus for us to get off the bus, And I stood up on the bus, and I turned to the guys, and I said, somebody tonight is going to go down in history of LSU athletics, that people will never forget you. And then I told them all to hold up their hand like this and make a fist. And they all did it. And then I told them to go like this, put their index finger up like that. I said, because I want you to practice that, because after the game, that's what we're going to run around the field with that finger up in the air, telling everybody we were number 1 in the country. We were so confident. we just couldn't be beat that night. Jared Mitchell hit a 3-run homer for us in the first inning. We jumped out to a lead. They fought back, tied the game. We came off the defensive field after the fifth inning, and we were tied. And I called the guys together in the dugout, and I said, "Hey, fellas, nobody reason to be down that we, gave up the lead. We have a 4-inning game for the national championship. This is when we play our best, the last 4 innings of the game." Well, we turned right around, went out and scored 5 runs in the top of the 6th inning. I brought in Chad Jones from the bullpen. He pitched 2 phenomenal innings for us, got us to the end of the game. Lewis Coleman finished it off for us. And we hammered them 11-4 in the final game. It was just such an awesome experience for everybody involved, and I'm grateful that I got to be a part of it. And I thought there would be a couple more of those championships, but we kept coming up just a tad short.
Before I give it to VK. 2017. I know that hurts.
Oh man,
to Florida. I know it hurts.
Oh.
I know it hurts. But talk about your greatest memory of that 2017 team that you coached.
Man, that was a great team. We had 4 guys that were drafted after the season before, the 16 season. Jared Poche, Kramer Robertson, Cole Freeman. They were all going into their senior year. They decided to put off pro career, come back for 1 more year. Greg Dykman was a draft eligible sophomore. He got drafted. He decided to come back for 1 more year. So that became kind of our Fab 4. They were the cornerstone of our team. But we had some other good players. Josh Smith was a freshman, and Zach Watson was a freshman. Michael Papierski was a really solid catcher for us. We had a really good team. Alex Lang was a dominating starting pitcher for us.
Yes.
And we were about 2/3 of the way through the season. We were doing okay, but not great. And we lost to Tulane. Amazing how Tulane comes into the picture again. We lost to Tulane on a Tuesday night, and after the game, we drove straight to Tuscaloosa, where we're going to start the series on a day after, 2 days after. So we had a practice night in Tuscaloosa. Well, usually the night before our series begins in the SEC, I always have a very light practice. We try to have some fun and keep the guys relaxed and loose, but we also have a competitive game we play. We call it 4-man ball, but too long of a story to explain. But this night, this practice day was not fun. Like, it was intense. And basically, I told the team that, we're not doing what we need to do because we're just not tough enough right now. And Kramer Robertson stood up and said, "You're exactly right, coach, and it starts with me. And I'm going to tell all my teammates right now that I'm done being a wimp out there. You guys just jump on and we're going to play hard." And, well, we just got hot, man. We swept Alabama, and we just had it was kind of like 2008. We had a stretch run and became a national seed. Hey, listen, the last weekend of the season, we had to go to Mississippi State, and whoever won that series was going to win the SEC West. Well, we beat them the first 2 nights, so we clinched the SEC West, which was wonderful. But now, because of other things that had happened in the league, if we won the 3rd game, we also would win the overall SEC for the season, for the regular season. Well, we went out and beat them again the next night, and it's the only time until this past year, 2022 season, is the only time LSU had, all the skip years, never had swept Mississippi State and Starkville. So we were really proud of that, okay? To beat our rivals like that, win the West, win the overall SEC. So now we go through the SEC tournament. We win that. So we've won the SEC West. We've won the overall SEC. We've won the SEC tournament. Now we go into the NCAA tournament. We win the regional. Well, who's waiting for us in the super regional but Mississippi State again? So I'm like, man, it's not good enough. We just beat them 3 times the last week of the season on the road. Now we got to beat them twice more. We can't let them go to Omaha at our expense in our ballpark, right? Well, the first night, they had a really great left-handed pitcher named Pilkington, and he was just really good that night. And he shut us down for 7 innings. And then in the 8th inning, we were down 2-0, and 3-0, excuse me. And we got a rally going, Kramer Robertson got on base. Duplantis got a base hit. Greg Dykman steps up and takes an outside sinker fastball away and drills it off the left field wall in the corner to score 2 runs. Zach Watson steps up and rips a base hit to tie the game. You couldn't believe how loud Alec Box Stadium was during this rally. Couldn't hear yourself think. And then Michael Papierski stepped up and drove in the what turned out to be the winning run. But we still had to get him out in the 9th inning. And we brought in Zach Hess. I don't know if you remember Zach, but they called him the Wild Thing that year. He was a freshman, and he blew him away in the 9th inning, and we win that game. The next night, we beat him 14-4, and we go to Omaha. And the first night in Omaha, we had a great victory against Florida State. And then, unfortunately, we played Oregon State the next game, and our freshman pitcher, Eric Walker, who had had a great year for us, had won the SEC championship game in the tournament, had shut out Rice in the regional. He goes out to pitch, and in the 2nd inning, he calls me out to the mound. He had blown out his elbow. He needed Tommy John surgery. So we went on to lose that game. Oregon State, that made Oregon State 56-4 that year. Wow. After they beat us on that game. That was their 25th win in a row. So we got to play Florida State again in an elimination game, and we beat them. So now the only thing we have to do to get to the finals against Florida, we've got to beat Oregon State 2 days in a row. They've lost 4 games the whole year, but we did it. We beat them the first day again behind Alex Lang, and Josh Smith hit a home run. And the next day we beat them again when Caleb Gilbert, who had been a kind of a journeyman pitcher for us in and out of the rotation, in and out of the bullpen, he goes out and pitches magnificently for almost 8 innings, and we beat him again. They had 5 future major leaguers in their lineup, and we beat them 2 days in a row. We only gave up 1 run in 2 games, and
Wow.
and that got us to the finals. But unfortunately, because of having to fight out of the losers bracket, and because Eric Walker was hurt, we were kind of running thin on pitching. So we had to kind of just mix and match it against Florida the first night, and their pitcher was a first-round draft choice. Just pitched for the USA team in the World Baseball Classic, a kid named Brady Singer. Well, we battled him hard, and we lost 4-3 the opening game. But we got him again the next night, and if we can win the next night, then Lang is going to be pitching the following night, and they can't beat Lang. We know it. So if we can win this game, we're going to win the national championship the next night, and we're losing 2-1 in the 7th inning. We get runners on 1st and 3rd, nobody out. And because of fluke things, we don't score in the 7th. In the 8th inning, we get 1st and 3rd, nobody out again, losing 2-1. Don't get the run in. We end up losing that game. Again, another nail biter. And yeah, it sticks in my side a lot. But I'm still really proud of that team. And it's a shame at LSU. I say this is a shame. If you don't win the last game of the year, it's just like another season of lost opportunity, you know. And it's really kind of a shame because that was a great group of kids.
Yes,
they deserved to
yes,
be a champion. We won every championship there was. You know, we won the SEC West, the SEC overall, the SEC tournament, the regional, the super regional, and our bracket in Omaha. We just couldn't win the last 2 games of the season against the Gators.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I gotta ask you this. One of the most favorite and one of the most to me, you've been having some great runs over the years. I think one of your best coaching jobs was, I believe, and I'm hoping that this is the same year. I think it might have been 2019 or 2016 when you guys had to come out of, I believe, maybe the losers bracket of the SEC tournament, and you guys made the run to win like 4 straight and wound up winning the tournament. And I believe it might have been that same year. I think that was the long game with Mississippi State.
Yeah, you
where
remember
it went to like 5 hours.
It was 16 innings.
16 innings.
We actually we were the visiting team in that game. We actually took the lead in the top of the 16th, and in the top of the 15th. We took the lead, and we were 1 out from winning. They had a runner at third base with 2 outs, and Mississippi State had their best hitter up. Guy had more hits than anybody in the history of the SEC, and we got him to hit a weak ground ball to the second baseman, and we kicked it. And error allowed the run to score to tie the game, and we ended up going to the 16th inning and ended up losing. But what a lot of people don't remember, but you do. 2 nights later, we played Mississippi State again, and we 10-run ruled them. We
I remember that.
beat them off the field and sent them home from Hoover, and we made a good run into that. I don't think we ended up winning the championship game. I think we lost it maybe to Vanderbilt that year, and I think Vanderbilt went on to win the national championship. But it was a great run by our team.
That really was, because between those 2 nights, and I was up watching that. Me and my wife, like, who not too long passed away, me and my wife watched the game.
Wow.
And at the time she was teaching, and the way the time was looking, she was like, man, I'm going to bed. They still playing? I was like, yeah. I said, I'm going to go to sleep. I was like, okay. So I'm watching, I'm looking at the time. I was like, oh my goodness, they still going? And then all of a sudden, y'all wound up losing and went to 16 innings. All of a sudden, a couple of days later, my mouth dropped when you guys put the run rule on them. I was like, wow.
Hey, and they started a first-round draft choice that night. The kid had turned down $2.5 million out of high school after being drafted in the first round. And we were pitching a bullpen guy, Clay Moffitt. And Clay went out there and pitched his heart out for 3 innings. We pieced it together. But fortunately, we only had to play 7 innings because we were 10-run ruled them, saved our bullpen a little bit. But, one of the greatest things about being the baseball coach at LSU is to hear stories like you just told me, like you and your wife. I've heard so many stories from people about, boy, this was my favorite game, the Rally Possum game, or the game that Todd Peterson came in and hit a double. Or
that's one of the craziest stories I've ever. We talked about it at the luncheon. And I think it might have been that same year, I think, with that run. That was about the craziest thing besides that long inning game was that Todd Peterson story. I'm like, when he hit it, great. Then all of a sudden, when we see the press conference, I was just dying laughing. I said, oh, Lord, are you serious?
Well, that whole thing was authentic. I can promise you. So I was actually going to, we had taken our DH and had to put him into the field, which means you lose your DH for the game. The pitcher has to bat for the player that came out of the game. So we had a runner on second base, Daniel Cabrera coming up, and the pitcher spot is on deck. But I didn't send Todd Peterson out to the on deck circle. I put Chris Reed out there because I didn't want the other team's coach to think that the pitcher was going to bat. Then they would have intentionally walked Cabrera. But Reed was a pretty clutch hitter. He's a good pinch hitter off the bench, especially. So they decided to pitch to Cabrera, who was a freshman at the time. And Cabrera gets a base hit up the middle to score the go-ahead run. We're the visiting team. So Reed is about ready to tell the umpire he's pinch hitting. I literally run out to the plate, grab him by the shirt, and pull him back to the dugout because I didn't want him to announce himself. Then Peterson would have been out of the game. I didn't know he was going to get a hit. Well, I just wanted him to pitch the bottom of the inning because he was pitching so well for us. So anyway, for whatever reason, the other team's coach decides to bring in a new pitcher, even though I'm going to have Peterson bat, right? You don't need to bring in a new pitcher to get your pitcher batting out, right? But so that gave us a chance to kind of huddle up in front of the dugout. And I told Todd, this is a true story now. I told Todd, I need you to pitch in the bottom of the inning. I once had a pitcher. I gave him a courtesy at bat when I was coaching at Notre Dame. We were blowing out a team, and everybody wanted the pitcher to get an at bat. He was like the favorite kid on the team, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think he does? He dislocates his kneecap swinging at a ball.
Oh, goodness.
And we don't have him through the NC. That was the year we went to the World Series. I didn't even have him available in the postseason. So I said, Todd, I don't even want you to swing. I just want you to stand in the batter's box, take 3 strikes, and then let's go out to the mound and get these guys out and let's win this game. So Austin Bain is a runner at third base, and he is a two-way player legitimately. And he's like begging me, come on, coach, let him hit. And I'm like, Todd, can you even hit? Oh, yeah, coach, I hit bombs in high school. I said, you did? I think he called them nukes, actually. I hit nukes, he said. I said, did you really? Well, everybody hit in high school. If the pitcher is good enough to be recruited to LSU, he's got to be a good enough athlete to have hit in high school, right? Everybody, there's not that many great hitters on a high school team. So I took him at his word. So I let him bat, and boom, he hits the hardest ball of the day off the left field wall, 2-run score. People are going crazy. He gets him out in the bottom of the inning, and he's the big hero of the day, right? Then we go to the press conference,
Yes.
and they ask him, when was the last time you had a meaningful at bat? And he starts to say, I guess in high school, and he stops himself mid sentence. I'm reading the box score up there on the podium, right? The players are being asked the question. I'm reading the box score, looking down, and all of a sudden I hear him say, Coach, I got to be honest with you. I didn't hit in high school. And I looked up at him and I said, what are you talking about? He said, I didn't really hit in high school. I have to tell you the truth. I said, what, you lied to me? He said, well, I wanted to hit.
Wow.
So I said, hey, thanks for lying to me.
I remember that like yesterday. Yes.
What did his father say about that? Because his dad has been a great broadcaster, but a legend in college baseball himself.
You're talking about Todd Peterson's father?
Yes.
He was a legend in that interview. The SEC had a set in Hoover. So after the game, they would interview the head coach of the winning team and one of the players. So Todd and I are going down there. Well, all of a sudden his father's walking with us. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, they want me to go up on the set with you. And they'd ask the father questions, and he'd be lying just like the son. I had no idea that this kid didn't hit in high school.
Oh wow!
Everybody thinks it was a synchronized play. It wasn't. It was totally authentic. I couldn't believe it, but it made for a great memory. Hey, listen to this. I was out in Phoenix, getting ready to play golf, and Phoenix, Arizona, right? Can't be many LSU fans in Phoenix, Arizona. The bag kid is loading my bag onto the golf cart. And of course, I got LSU all over my bag. And this kid goes, you're Coach Mainieri, aren't you? And I said, yes, I am. He says, man, that Todd Peterson, he was my favorite player. Can't get away from it.
That's awesome. Wow. Coach, I got to ask you this right quick, and I'm going to let Jared finish it up. We've been covering a lot. Let's talk about this year's LSU baseball team and Jay Johnson. What are your thoughts on the job he's doing this year and the good start for the LSU Fighting Tigers, how they're doing? But not just that. This SEC is really tough this year, especially in the Eastern Division. It's tough all around this year.
Yeah. So, I felt really good about what we left Jay to take over. How often does a coach get to take over a program where the coach before him didn't get fired and didn't leave for a better job? I decided to retire, and I'm going to live right here in Baton Rouge. And I knew, with Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan and Jordan Thompson and Gavin Dugas and Alex Milazzo and all the other guys, I knew that this team was ready to emerge. My last year, those guys were all freshmen. When we played our first SEC game that year, we had only 2 players in the lineup that had ever seen an SEC game. And, because the year before was the pandemic year. So even the sophomores, the season had been stopped before we started playing SEC. So, there's a growth period that you got to go through there with those kids. And we won the regional in Eugene, Oregon. And I felt the team was really ready to emerge, even though I was going to retire and pass the baton to another coach. So, Jay got the job, and I thought Jay would do a fantastic job. And they just ran out of gas a little bit there at the end, but I thought it was a team that was capable of going to Omaha. And now, not virtually the same group, because, you've added Jared Jones, who's an outstanding freshman. You've added, Skeens, who was a great transfer pitcher, and so forth. So what Jay's done a good job of is he's taken what we had building and added a few key pieces. The third baseman can really hit. Skeens, I mentioned, and of course Cruz is like, on a different planet the way he's playing. So, I just think it's all kind of coming together, and they clearly, I think, have the best team in the country. And anything I think short of going to Omaha is going to be a terrific disappointment. I hope it doesn't happen. But Jay's going to find out when you get to Omaha, you got to win too for people to be truly happy. But they've got a chance to do it. And I think Jay's doing a masterful job this year of the pieces of the puzzle and putting them together the way they should be. And I feel very good about the team from a personal standpoint. Every day, with the exception of the third baseman, Tommy White, the other 8 players in the everyday lineup are all kids that I recruited and coached, or just recruited, kind of like Smoke Laval did for me with giving me Blake Dean and those guys. We recruited Jared Jones, and we recruited, Kling, and so many, the catcher Brady Neal, Nolan Kane, the rest of my staff. We recruited those guys, and we knew they'd be good. And things are so different now because you get that transfer portal. The draft has been contracted some, so more players are coming to school, particularly if they can get NIL money. So I think that this season is going to be special, and I don't see why it can't continue into the future.
2-part question right quick. I'm going to let Jared finish it. 1, how do you feel of the transition LSU baseball made, even when you was there, with the hard bats to the little bit lighter bats and everything, make it a little more safer and stuff like that, especially how it was back in the day when LSU hit the ball, basically called gorilla ball.
Right.
But also the second question, your thoughts on how the SEC baseball has evolved, because you look at these different champions over the years besides yourself, Florida, and now you got both Mississippi schools winning in 2 years.
Yeah.
Your thoughts about the SEC and also the transition of college baseball from battings?
First of all, with regard to the bats, college baseball, like college football, basketball, any sport, is a constant changing and adapting to the changes. Skip was awesome when he made the change. He used to be a bunt, steal guy, emphasize pitching and defense. And then when they developed these bats that had a trampoline effect when they hit the ball, now he just decided to get big, strong guys and just outpower everybody. So, good coaches are always a step ahead, I think, and Skip obviously was one of the greats of all time. So he was a step ahead of everybody, and then everybody else kind of started to do it too. But Skip's teams in the 90s particularly set the tone for that. But then they decided to change the bats down, and speed became much more important, especially in the outfield, and guys being able to run balls down, being able to steal bases and those kinds of things. Defense became much more important because you just weren't going to hit 150 home runs ever again. It just wasn't going to happen. And even though it took our fans a while to understand that, eventually I think they understand, because you look around the country, nobody's hitting home runs at that rate. Okay. So, now the adjustment is the transfer portal and the NIL. And so, to maintain, doing a good job as a coach, you have to adapt to all those kinds of things. I had to do it for 4 decades. I adapted to a lot of changes. I just ran out of gas. When I got to the end, I said, this is going to be a really new era. It's time to get a younger guy in here with, more energy. And I think Jay's doing a really good job with that. As far as the SEC goes, I'll tell you, little history lesson. I told you what it was like when I was here as a freshman. The baseball coach was really the equipment manager for the football team. Well, now every school in the SEC has a great coach. They have great budgets so that they can go out and recruit. They got full-time assistant coaching staffs that are out on the road recruiting all the time. LSU just hired a guy from the major leagues to be their pitching coach. When do you ever hear of a coach leaving the major leagues to come back to college to be an assistant, right? But we paid him, and he knew it was a good situation. He's an outstanding coach, Wes Johnson I'm talking about. So this was a good situation for him. But everybody's got new facilities. Florida just spent $75 million on theirs. Mississippi State spent $100 million on theirs. Everybody's coming up with grandiose facilities. The reason that this has happened is because way back when Skip came here in 1983, the only team really that anybody took serious in the SEC was Mississippi State. But when Skip came here and he knew how to do it, all of a sudden now you've got this other great program. And when the two teams would play each other, funny thing happened. Lots of people came to watch. So all of a sudden you got fans that are interested, that are paying for tickets, and all of a sudden baseball becomes a revenue producing sport. So a lot of presidents and athletic directors around the league would look at what's going on in Starkville and what's going on in Baton Rouge and say to themselves, man, if we hired a good coach and we put some resources into the program, maybe we could have a baseball program that our community could be proud of and maybe even become self-sufficient. And that's what happened. So the SEC has become this power conference. I mean, you give all the credit in the world to the ACC or the Big Ten or the what they call the team, the Big 12 still. I don't even know what they call it anymore. And the Pac-12. But the SEC is a cut above. I mean, 5 of the top 6 teams in the country in the rankings are SEC teams. You're going to see 10 teams get bids, 4 or 5 national seeds coming out of the SEC. I mean, Skeens is almost big league ready right now. And you face guys like that every Friday night in the SEC, no matter what team it is. So the SEC is just continues to get better and better. And then now with the NIL and the transfer portal, you're seeing a lot of kids leaving the so-called mid-major schools to go to the SEC schools and become great starting pitchers or great players right away.
Coach, we will get you out of here on this last question. You're retired, living in Baton Rouge, living a good life. But does the desire and the passion to ever want to coach again ever comes back?
Do you have to ask me that question? When I was a young boy, all I wanted to do was be a college baseball coach. Honestly, I was 14 years old. I told my dad I wanted to be a coach like him because I saw the impact he had on young people's lives and how he taught them to be successful and tough and, handle the challenges of life. And, I thought, that's what I want to do. And my God, I got to do it for 40 years, and I mean, 5 years ago, when I had 5 years left in my coaching life, even though I didn't know it was going to end then, I used to say, man, if I had never won another game, I'd still feel so fulfilled in my career because, I see the young men that played for us that have gone out and played well in professional baseball or gone out and been successes in our communities and helping other people and doing the right things. And I just felt good about it, But then when I retired because I wasn't feeling well. I had these serious neck issues and, it just was building and building and building. And I felt like I was just out of gas. I never thought I'd ever feel that way because I love coaching so much. So now I've been out of it for 2 years and, the itch is still there a little bit. My problem is this though. Somebody's in my old job. And once you coach at LSU, where else do you want to coach? So, I'm kind of grappling with it a little bit. I'll be 66 this summer. I still feel young enough to be able to do it. I feel rejuvenated. My neck feels much better. I'm a very mediocre golfer, and it doesn't look like I'm going to get any better from mediocrity. But, the game has changed and, it takes an awful lot. And you have to make a lot of sacrifices from your family to do it. So I've thought about it a lot, but I just don't know if it's in the cards or not. We'll see.
Well, Coach, you said you're kind of mediocre. I'm an okay golfer. We might have to get together and go shoot a little bit. You know what I'm saying, if it's possible.
That sounds good. Thank you, guys.
No problem. And we thank you so much for joining us on the Hash It Out show. We're definitely gonna have you on again because you know a lot about college baseball, and when we get close to that postseason, we definitely want to have you on again to get your expertise.
Be happy to anytime, guys.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach.
And I was listening to your talking about Michael Thomas and Zion. It's frustrating, man. Those guys have so much talent. You just want to see them get out there on the field, don't you?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, good to listen to you guys. Good to be with you tonight.
Thank you
so much. Thank you.
Appreciate it so much.
Okay,
Thank you, Coach.
Guys. My pleasure.
All right. Everyone, former LSU head baseball coach Paul Mainieri. Everyone, thank y'all for tuning in. Please click the subscribe button on YouTube for JB, your sports guy. Also do the same for VK Jones on YouTube. That's his name, VK Jones. We thank y'all for tuning in.
Or Vashawn K. Jones, if you don't find VK, Vashawn K. Jones.
Vashawn K. Jones. There you go.
Yes, sir.
So we thank you. We're going to our next guest. Before we go to our next in St. Bernard Parish. All right. There it is. All right. You see it, VK? There it is. All right. Yes. Now. All right.
Now you flipped it. Now you flipped it. There you go. You better represent the locals.
I need a Nunez baseball hat. That's what I need. Can you give me one? Or I'll ask Coach Powell.
Yeah, ask Coach for one.
Ladies and gentlemen, yes, I will. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Nunez baseball team, Coach Glenn Powell. Coach, thank you for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thanks for joining us. Coach, 2017, it was said that college baseball was coming to Nunez. How did you feel when you were named to be the head coach?
Oh, it was I don't even know how to explain it. It was a dream come true, really. Dr. Warner, who was the chancellor at the time, asked me to come coach, and you can't tell Dr. Warner no. So it was a no-brainer. We were looking at Shaman. We were at Shaman High School. We had a lot of really good players there. A lot of them were getting passed over. They don't have a whole lot of junior colleges in Louisiana. So this just added to them to have another place to play, give some other kids an opportunity to play. We can't give every kid an opportunity, but, it gives 45 to 50 kids a year an opportunity to play junior college baseball, which they didn't have, prior to 2017.
So that being said, what steps were taken in order to get this baseball program started at Nunez?
Well, a good friend of mine, he's the athletic director at Shaman High School, David Brossett, approached me with it first. So he called Dr. Warner and talked to Dr. Warner about doing it, and he really wanted to do it. So the next step was, who was going to be the coach. I was helping out. I really didn't expect to be the coach. But Dr. Warner, he was insistent, if I'm going to do it, you got to be the coach. You got to build it. We had to build it from scratch. We didn't have any baseballs, no bats, no anything. So, it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of fun, though. We got a great administration. Dr. Tinney, after Dr. Warner left, she definitely wanted the baseball team, and so she kept it going. I mean, it could have went away when Dr. Warner retired, but she wanted it and went to the state and said she still wanted the team, so they kept it. I got I report to Catherine Lemoyne. She's the vice chancellor, and she's great. A lot of support. Anything we need, they give us. So it makes it a lot easier when you have a lot of support from the administration. But look, I mean, we're still using Shaman's field. Thanks to them, without their field, this wouldn't be possible either. Now, we are in talks trying to get us a field. You know how that goes. It's a very slow process. But I think that's our missing piece. Once we get our field, we won't lose some of the other recruits we've been losing. You have a field, changes everything for you. It's your own place. Kids take a lot of pride in their own field. We could have camps. We could do different things to help the program. But, I tell you, we broke into the Catholic League 2 years ago and getting some Catholic school kids in really helped the program. Ben Harris, Alex Rue, those guys really carried us last year. We were expecting them to be healthy this year, and they hurt. Both of them are hurt. My center fielder's hurt, Kyle Landry. We got a couple other guys hurt. But these young guys who came in are really stepping up and helping us win this year. This is the second year in a row we have a winning season. We beat the wins record this year. We had 27 wins. Last year we had 26. We're still 6 games to go plus the tournament. So, it's been a lot of fun. It's, if you would have told me in 2017 we'd be where we are today, I wouldn't have believed it myself. So,
Coach, big series with Delgado coming up this weekend, or this week, I should say. But right when your program started at Nunez, you said that you wanted to model Delgado's successful baseball program. Why?
Because they got Joe Sherman there. I mean, let's be honest. He's a great coach. And his dad was a great coach prior to that. My older brother played for Delgado. I used to go to some of the games when I was young, watch my older brother play with Rags coaching. It's just a great program, man. So why wouldn't you want to model it after them? They've been in the World Series multiple times. The way he recruits his players, the way, he coaches the game, we try to mimic that. I'm not saying we do everything they do. We do a lot of things differently, that's for sure. But yeah, we want to go to us to get to where we want to be. We got to beat them. We got to get through them. We got to recruit the same guys. We're in the same area. We're 15 minutes apart. So we after all the same guys. And, Coach Sherman does a great job. He gets a lot of transfers in. We go more towards trying to recruit the high school guys. He does a good job of doing that too. So, it's always a battle every year. So when we're getting close, last year we beat them a few times. I felt like we should have won the whole thing last year, but we didn't. We were short a little pitching. This year we have the pitching. We short a few guys. But that doesn't say, these guys, like I said, they stepping up. We won in a lot of baseball games. If you would have told me in the beginning of the year when 5 of my guys would go down, that would be winning the way we are, I would have said no way. But we are. The pitching's carry us. I mean, we got some young pitchers that are really good. Well, we got Levi Brewster, who's back. He was our ace last year, so he's back. And then you have who we got? We got I'm sorry,
Landon Cortez.
Landon Cortez. We got Ira Austin. We got Peyton Cooper. We got Cole Bordez. I mean, we just got a great pitching staff. We got Andre Rue, Alex's younger brother's with us. He's really coming along. He's going to be one of the guys at the end. He's going to be one of our guys next year. Ira's going to be here again next year. We got a lot of guys coming back next year too. So, yeah, those guys are really what's been keeping us in games and giving us an opportunity to win. Man, I tell you, this is by far the best group I've had. They work hard every day. We started August 15th, and we haven't stopped since August 15th. So these guys are really stepped up. They're in a weight room every day. We practice early in the morning. Sometimes we practice late at night, and they always show up and do a great job.
I'll pass it to VK after this question. Last year was the first winning season for Nunez. Yep. What was it from last year that you could carry over to the season this season?
Well, I think it's the leadership of the guys we had last year, and some of the guys that were on the team last year that left, great leadership. You had some guys, you had Brady Saws, team guy, every day, just on the guys, just work. You had Landon LeBlanc. Those guys, they showed what they could do on the field, and I think that carries over. Those guys are really good players. I got some of the players this year that can't believe they had opportunity to play with guys like that. So I think that carried over. They learned from that. The culture's changing. When you have kids like that every year, they change your culture for you. It changes from a losing culture to a winning culture. Doing what you have to do in the classroom every day. We have some guys, if you can't pass, you can't play. You got to be a student athlete first. So we really preach that. If we have a guy we count on who can't pass in class, that doesn't help us at all. So I think those guys last year, leadership with that and having these guys do what they have to do in the classroom, bringing it out on the field. These guys go down and other guys stepped up, young guys that we thought we wouldn't be playing the next year are going to be playing this year. So, I think it's just a culture thing. I tell you, we got some great coaches too. I mean, my 2 assistant coaches are awesome. Without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at. When I was doing it by myself, I wasn't winning. So those guys that go out recruiting every night, Alex and Dominic, Alex Powell, Dominic Curo, they 2 of the best coaches, I think, in junior college. That's the difference. Those guys go out and they hustle every day. They do what they're supposed to do. They're out there, like tonight, they're out recruiting. One's at Rummel. I'm not sure exactly where Dom's at tonight, but they're out there recruiting every night, trying to get the guys we need, So, I mean, it's great, man. I don't know how to explain it. Like Coach said, it's a blessing to be a coach. I mean, what better life do you have when you get to coach every day? You get to go to school every day, coach. It's a great time. It's a lot of fun.
And speaking of Brady Sirs, Jared, put that comment up right quick. See what that says, Coach? I don't know if you see it, but we see it.
Yeah.
He says, Pell's winning it all this year. That comes from your former player.
Yeah, I wish he was still here. I'm gonna tell you, I miss Brady, man. Brady was always with me in the dugout. You know, when he wasn't in the game, he was talking to me constantly. Or he was a great team guy too. You know, he got here as freshman year. He struggled a little bit. We didn't play him much, but he was always cheering and had a lot of energy. You know, helping the guys out. And he kept working. The kid worked hard to get to where he was at. And look, he made some big plays for us in the tournament last year. I know. I mean, he made a diving catch in foul territory. I mean, it was unbelievable, some of the plays he made. And then some of the big hits he gets, too, you know, it was great. You know, him and Landon LeBlanc, I mean, it was just lights out all year. You know, I miss both those guys.
And Sirs last year had a little injury, and we both talked about when he was coming back. He didn't know, and I think it was the BRCC series. He came back sooner than we thought.
Oh, yeah.
And all of a sudden, he just stayed healthy the rest of the time. And he just was a fighter, man. He just didn't really give up at all.
No, he loves the game, you know. And when you love the game, that's part of, you know, embracing, you know, the work. If you don't want to get up early in the morning and do the work and you know, you're hurt and you don't get up and do the work, you're going to stay hurt, right? Or you get hurt again. These guys work, like I said, they work hard. It's all about the game. I mean, think about it. It's been 8 months playing baseball, and I don't think any of them are burned out. I have had teams before where the guys are all burnt out by now and ready to go home. I don't think these guys are. I think they want to move on. I think they want to, you know, get to the regional and try to get to the World Series this year. And that's our ultimate goal. But like I said, you know, we played Delgado 4 times. We lose to them 3 times by 1 run. We got to find a way, you know, mentally to get past that. I think we just as good or better than them. You know, we just got to find a way to win those tight games.
Shout out to Levi Brewster. Got a little comment out there saying Brady Sir's greatest Pell ever. Like that, man. I like that. You know, this is a historical series for you guys, and the reason why is the fact that, you know, you guys are on a high right now. This is a better record than last year we mentioned, but not just that. Last season, you beat Delgado for the first time ever. But now you're looking for the historical win at home, because now it's the fact that Nunez trying to get their first home win ever against Delgado.
Yeah, we should have had it last year. We lose on a bunt play that they called interference on us at first base. We wound up losing the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, look, Chamonix's a hard place to play too. You know, it's a small place. It's very enclosed. So you know, you can lose on a pop fly to center field. So but both teams play on that. So I'm not using that as an excuse. But it's definitely a hard place to play. And they got some big hitters. It's gonna be a lot of home runs this weekend, so it could go either way. You know, if we hit the ball this weekend and our pitchers keep us in the game, you know, sky's the limit. I mean, look at Collins Orang. He's really starting to hit the long ball now. We've been waiting for that for 2 years. He's finally
and talk about Zarang last weekend, Coach. I mean,
what can you say?
The two big hits. Against, I was out of town in Carolina, but I caught some in the game. Wow. I mean, Zarang is really coming along.
Yeah, he is. He was lights out. You know, he hits a line drive home run over right field fence, and he hits a missile to win a game, you know, over the center field fence. So, I mean, if he continues to hit the ball like look, he's carried us all year. Him and Detilier's carried us all year at the plate. And, you know, I can't leave out Alex Cruz. He's been, without Alex this year, we'd be in a lot of trouble too. I mean, he's taken over the shortstop spot and hasn't missed a beat. We haven't missed a beat. He's played great all year, hit a bunch of key home runs for us. So him, Zarang, and Detilier's really carried us, and some of the other younger guys are playing great defense and doing a great job. And, you know, hopefully we continue that into this next series. And like I said, if we could sweep Delgado this weekend, it'd be awesome. We could split with them, it'd be great. I'll be very disappointed if we lose all 3 against them this weekend, you know.
Well, I think, do you have a lot more confidence, not just the fact that you took 3 out of 4 BRCC, but the last time you played Delgado, 3 out of the 4 games was 1-run games, and it was epic ball games at that.
Yeah, it's epic ball games. The same guy killed us in those games that killed us in the championship game was that catcher. Hitting laser out center field, yeah. So, I mean, we got, you know, I got to do a better job coaching with that too, maybe walking them or doing some things, try to pitch around the guy. But, you know, I'm not that type of coach. You know, I think we should get those guys out. But, if we play our game and we do what we do, and we pitch well, like I said, and our guys score enough runs. My motto is score run an inning. Run an inning. If you score 7 runs a game, you should win those games. If we would have scored 7 runs those games, we would have won those games. And we really preach, moving runners, bunting, all those kind of things. We like to do. We like to run bases. We steal a lot of bases. Our guys have a lot of baseball IQ now. They do a lot of good things. So, but Delgado, they do the same thing every year. They don't run on the bases a lot. They go out and they try to hit the ball at the park, and that's what they do, and that's how they beat you. So we gotta make some big plays in the outfield. But like I said, we play on a much smaller field this weekend. So, we should get to all the balls in the outfield if they're inside the fence. If we can keep the ball in the park, I think we'll be okay.
Your thoughts on your young players that have really stepped up big for you, Noah Detillier, also James Bendick, and also Ashton Ellis and Davison Stokes a little bit. Tell us about how these young players has really stepped up for your team and how outstanding. Like early, it's been kind of growing pains, but lately they've been really coming up big for you.
No, Ashton hit a big double, in the game that we wound up winning. So those guys are performing. Those guys struggle a little bit in the beginning. It's hard just to step in as a freshman and play right away. Bendick's been doing a good job playing defense for us. He's figuring out what he has to do at the plate. Ashton's been great. And then trying to think of the other guys.
Davison Stokes.
Yeah, Davison Stokes. Look, Davison's been in and out the lineup all year. Davison's doing a good job, though. At the beginning of the year, he struggled a little bit defensively, but he's coming around. He's figuring it out. So those guys have been great. Look, it's been everybody. We got guys on the bench. Reggie Bergeron comes in, gets a big double hit, knocks some runs in one game. Cooper, Cooper. I didn't mention Cooper. Cooper's done a great job at second base this year. Adam Lambert. He plays second base most of the year. We play him in left field at second base. We move him around a little bit, but he was hot at the beginning of the year, cooled off a little bit. But he's been Sunday he made some awesome plays at second base to help us win that game. A 1-0 game. It kept Cooper in the game. Cooper pitched the lights out game. He hits the ball well. His first time we DH'd him while he pitched this year. And those guys have been doing great. I can't say enough about all of them, man. They're great kids. They're great guys. They, like I said, they've been stepping up, doing a great job.
Can you tell the people a bit, and been doing a lot of your games last couple of years with the Sports Broadcasting Network. Tell the people a little bit about the atmosphere over at Noel Suarez Stadium, and it seemed like it's been growing and growing. And the crowds have been unbelievable and as big as Delgado's each weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about the home atmosphere, especially the crowds, and how things have been growing with the game day experience?
No, we're trying to grow the crowds. We like people in free to try to get them in the stadiums. We want all the kids to come. Our fans are great. The stadium sits right on top of the field. I was talking to the coach from Bishop State the other day, and he was telling me how hard it is to play there because everybody's on top of you. And our fans are so loud. That team has so much energy. And no, it's just fun. I wish we could fill it up more, to be honest with you. I think, you got college baseball in St. Bernard Parish. You got to think about that. We at the end of the world. We're the last place you would think of in Louisiana, St. Bernard Parish. We're a little bayou town. It's an island. The only way you can get to us is over a bridge. So, and you got college baseball in here. And I don't know if the community's grasped it enough yet. If we haven't done a great job of promoting the program like we should, or it's just that we don't have our own stadium yet. So, but we do get a lot of people at the games. We had some people from the neighborhood come in the other day, and they watched the games on Sunday, and they were like, "Man, we didn't even know y'all were playing here." And they came yesterday, Tuesday, looking for the game because we had it on the schedule. It said Tuesday, but we want to play both games on Sunday. So here it is, a person from the neighborhood's walking over to the stadium wanting to come to the ball game. So that's great. That's what we're looking for. We want to keep building the crowds and get just like Coach Mainieri was saying with LSU. In 1983, they didn't have anybody going there. They just had girlfriends and a couple students come to the game. Now you got 20,000 people there. I know, I'm realistic. I know I can get 20,000 people at a game, but if we get 300, 400, 500 people there from our community, I think it'll be a fun atmosphere.
Definitely.
So that's our goal, and the long-term goal for us is to have that kind of atmosphere. But we're gonna have to have our own feel for that. People coming to a high school, they still feel like it's kind of a high school game because it's at a high school. So, but it's really a college game, and if you come watch the games, it's legit college baseball. You got guys throwing up at 80s, 90 miles an hour, guys that couldn't smash, making plays you won't see on a high school field. So it's definitely college baseball.
And and we definitely understand about the field and stuff. And trust me, I don't talk about Noel Suarez that bad. We do describe certain different things to a stadium comparing to when Nunez plays in different stadiums and stuff. We know that's different fields a little bit more. And we talked about it, Coach, that it was good to go to different kind of parks, different stages. And I know you said it's more good for the players to have that experience, especially playing up in Signet this year, playing in other spots, and also going to be playing in Alumni Field for the tournament.
Right. Now, there's really nothing wrong with Chalmette High School, to be honest with you. It's just a small field. When we get on a bigger field, we actually do play better. It keeps us in ball games. We can score more runs on big fields because it's easy to get the ball in the gaps and things like that. But yeah, we decided, at the beginning of the year that we would go ahead and try to play a tournament somewhere. We the host this year, so we're trying to play on a bigger field for the tournament. It's fair for all three teams. So we're going to coach over at Southeastern. Coach Raza was gracious enough to let us use his field for the tournament. So, that's just going to be another plus for us, to be a little, but it's still like traveling for us when it's our home tournament. So it is going to be a little different for us because we got to get on a bus. We got to go there. We're going to go back every night, go back. So it's a little difficult for us where if we were playing at home, the guys could sleep in a little bit and do different things and have a different kind of, they're gonna have to get ready a little different way than if we're at home. So, but it's not a big deal. I mean, they're gonna enjoy playing at Southeastern. No, that's part of what it is, getting a chance to go play at Southeastern at a D1 field. And it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a great atmosphere. You're gonna have a lot of people there. You're gonna have some college kids there that are gonna come to the games from Southeastern and get to watch. So I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I'm gonna ask you this, and then I'm gonna let Jared close it out here. I've been part of the broadcast team the last couple of years, especially with TSRN transition to TSBN this year, working with Lynn Michaels and Chris Tiller and everything. What are your thoughts of how TSBN has been a part of Nunez and getting the word out and getting the games out there for not just the Nunez fans to see, but other fans to see as well? What do you think about the coverage, but not just that? How much does it help Nunez, especially hearing a lot of the players? They tell me, thank you, appreciate it. And it's interesting with Levi Brewster, one of your players, telling me where he's from. And he's like, a lot of times my parents cannot make it down here. And it's good that you be on the air because they have to watch. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
No, y'all been a blessing, to be honest with you. We have guys that are from Shreveport, from Lake Charles, different places, Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Those parents can't make it all the time. So having that where they can watch it when they can't make it has been awesome for those parents. As far as getting the word out, shoot, can't beat it. Coaches are watching the games, college coaches, they can't get to the game, so they're watching out. We use our film, to send to different coaches. And that's been a big help with recruiting these guys, because these guys, we had a 2-year school, so they're looking to move on once they leave here. It's almost like getting recruited out of high school again. So these guys, it helps them with their recruiting, helps me help them with their recruiting. And no, y'all been great. I mean, I go back and watch the games and watch what we did good, watch what we did bad, so we could fix things. And it's been a blessing, really has. And you've been great, to be honest with you. We love listening to you. Everybody missed you last weekend, actually.
So. I understand. I think Lynn did a great job and everything. I miss y'all very much, and I appreciate you guys at Nunez, and also I appreciate the people at BRCC as well. I mean, y'all two are like my extended families, and I really do appreciate the love and everything, especially your wife and your family, how they have embraced me in Chalmette, Louisiana, because there's a lot of ghost stories out there, but at the same time, it's more positive than anything else, and you keep the positiveness out there in St. Bernard, and I respect that a lot. But any recruits so far from your team? Anybody being looked at?
Oh yeah, for my team, yeah.
Yeah.
So Levi signed with LSUA.
Awesome.
He had some D1s looking at him. And Levi decided to go to LSUA. I think he feels comfortable there. South Alabama's looking at him, ULM, different places like that. And he decided to go to LSUA, which is great for LSUA. He's going to win 10 games a year there for him. He's going to be lights out. Cooper also is looking at some different options. We had Landon Manson's going to Loyola. He had some other options too, but he decided to go to Loyola. He wants that Loyola degree. So, and look, we're working hard to get these other guys in places too. I was on the phone today with Nichols and different schools, promoting our guys, trying to get those guys to take our guys. And, we'll get all these guys signed. We got 13 guys leaving. We'll have 13 guys going to play somewhere if they want to. Alice Cruz, Xavier, he's looking at Xavier. I think it'll be a good spot for him. He wants to stay close to home, so Xavier would be a good spot for him. That's a new program too, but they're doing a good job over there. So hopefully he goes there. Yemi's going to JMU. You have Willie Flynn's going to JMU.
Hey,
so that should be good spots for them. You're not going to have an opportunity to play. You want to go where you're going to play to. If you go to Division I school and you're just sitting there and you're not playing, that's no fun.
Right.
So I tell these guys, play. You want to go somewhere they want you and where you're going to play. And the same thing with us. When we recruit guys, we want those guys. You want to go where you can have an opportunity to play. And I think we fair with that. I think everybody gets an opportunity on our team, and that's how I think we're being successful, because everybody is getting that opportunity.
Jared, I tell you one thing. One of the guys he mentioned, Willie Flynn, he has an amazing story. Coach, tell us a little bit about Willie Flynn. He overcame a lot to get to Nunez and for where he is now.
Yeah, Willie started at Mississippi College. He had some, problems with grades and stuff, so we wound up getting him here. We got his grades straight and all those kind of things, and Willie's done a great job. I mean, he's been a pivotal point on our team for the last 2 years. He's done a great job. He struggles at times, and sometimes he's lights out. That's what's frustrating about baseball, right? You have a guy who goes out there, sometimes he's lights out, and next day you can't get anybody out. But no, Willie's a great kid. They're all great kids, though. And they all have their own stories and difficulties to get to where they're at. And, the big thing is, you work hard, you help other people. I tell these guys all the time, I think karma is real. If you're a bad person, it's going to get shot right back in your face. But if you're a good person, you go out in the community, you help people, that's going to come back tenfold. And, they're all good kids, man. They go work in the community. They called me one day and wanted to go help clean gravestones at the battlefield. So we were over there, these kids at 18, 19 years old, most kids wouldn't want to do those things. They were there scrubbing tombstones for 5 hours, 6 hours. This is the kind of things they do, to go work the Special Olympics and all this thing. These guys do a great job. I mean, they're just great kids. I can't say enough about all of them. About everything at Nunez is great. It really is. The administration, the people, the students, the professors, they all do a great job, and they're all involved in the community, and they just want the best for everybody. And I think that's what makes St. Bernard such a great place. These kids, they come in, they embrace the community, and they do things, and they get on the baseball field, they play hard, and I think good things are going to happen for all of them. And if you do that through your life, a lot of good things are going to happen for you. Yes,
sir.
Coach Powell, we'll get you out of here with this last question. You played at the St. Bernard recreational youth levels, played at Chalmette, played at St. Bernard Community College. But what was it that made you want to become a baseball coach?
I'll be honest with you, it was coaching travel ball. we had a great travel ball team, when the kids were young. I had my son, Malik Blaze. You had Dominic Curo on it. All those kids that are coaching with me now and played. It was just a lot of fun, and they just kept doing it. And I got asked to coach at Holy Cross, so I did that for a little bit of time. And when this opportunity came up, I tell kids this all the time. I don't know how to fail. So you get into something, you got to work hard. If it takes 15 hours a day, you do what you got to do. You just don't fail. You make it succeed, and I think that's the biggest part of what's going on right now. We're going to succeed no matter what happens. Well, I'm here or not, this program will succeed, and these kids will succeed. I think they're all great kids, and it's been a lot of fun. So I'll do this as long as they have me.
Coach, when does the series against against Delgado?
Start Saturday at 1 o'clock. We had 2 games on Saturday and 1 9-inning game on Sunday at 1. Y'all come out and watch.
And everybody, if you can't make it, please make it out Saturday. Let's pack the crowd at Noel Suarez Stadium for that 3-game set starting on Saturday with the doubleheader. You can't make it out, go to tsbnsports.com. That's tsbnsports.com. I'm making my return this Saturday, Pelicans fans, to call the ball game. Shout out to Lynn Michaels, who pinch hit for me and did a great job. I'm coming back Saturday to broadcast the games this weekend. Come on out and support Nunez and Delgado in a great series coming up. And also, if you can't come out, watch the game. We'll put the links up. It's going to be a fun weekend and hopefully a historical weekend for the Nunez Pelicans.
It will be. I appreciate everything, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you,
problem,
Coach. We appreciate
Thank you,
you,
Coach.
Good luck this weekend.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
We'll see you Saturday.
Sounds.
Coach Glenn Powell of the Nunez Pelicans. Everybody that's tuning in, we thank y'all. Please subscribe to our YouTube page. My YouTube page is JB Your Sports Guy. My good friend VK Jones. That's his YouTube page, VK Jones. If you can't find VK Jones,
Vashawn K. Jones. Vashawn K. Jones is my page. If you can't find VK Jones, Vashawn VASHONK Jones. So subscribe to either one of us. We thank you for joining us here. We're a team, and that's what we do. We had 2 great guests on the show. We still got a couple minutes. We're gonna try to make it quick, but we thank you for your patience, and we'd like to thank Coach Powell for his patience, because that was some stories we heard
Coach
from
Mainieri,
Coach Mainieri.
big time.
My goodness. And we're gonna have him back, ladies and gentlemen, especially close to college football postseason.
Both of them.
Both of them. Actually, we'll have to have Coach Powell back before the Region 23 tournament, because Nunez is the host.
Yes,
so we're definitely going to bring him back, and Coach Joe Sherman as well. We're going to have him on.
I'm with it. Guys, everyone that tuned in today so far, thank y'all, man. This is the biggest live crowd we've ever had today with Coach Mainieri and Coach Powell. We thank y'all, and just subscribe to our YouTube pages. We greatly appreciate it.
And come back. We're on every week.
Yes.
Come back. Please come back. You know what I'm saying? All my Pels fans, come back. All my LSU people, come back. This is some great sports talk that we are bringing to you. We're going to have bigger and better guests. So this is the invitation to come back and join us and support us, because we definitely, and Paul Howard, shout out to him. He's part of the Nunez pitching staff, the Glenn Powell effect. You're right about that. And then Kobe Smith, best broadcaster in JUCO baseball.
I'm about to put that up for you, Vicky.
Yeah.
Put it up for you, bro. There you go. Get your shot on, baby.
All I'm gonna tell you is this. Ben Harris, I see you, bro. I'm gonna tell you is this. NJCAA, please, if you're going to watch these games this weekend, or not just watch these games, please check us out on the Region 23 tournament, and consider me if you need some help for the Junior College World Series. I would like to come out there to Colorado Springs and help y'all out, or do a broadcast or 2. I would definitely appreciate the opportunity in JCAA. I'm asking and begging. Just give a brother a shot. Give a brother a shot. That's all.
Ben Harris and Brady Sears, both of them, say let's get a championship back in the Paris conference championship on the way. This is a very confident.
This is a confidence team. Very confident because of the fact they compete. They can compete with anybody. And Delgado and even Coach Joe Sherman even recognizes Nunez.
Thank you, Captain.
Thank you. And he even recognizes, and he gives a lot of respect to Nunez. He's like, man, this ain't the doorstep no more. These guys is making us earn our lunch. So Coach Sherman knows how good that this Nunez program is now. So I'm like this. If Nunez can get a win, a 1 win or 2 wins, that'd be great for the weekend. But the biggest thing about Nunez, they want to gain, because I think the way it's looking in the standings, it's going to be hard to catch Delgado in the conference regular season, but the tournament is going to mean everything.
Different story.
It's going to mean everything, because the thing about the tournament is the winner goes to the Super Regional, meaning one winner goes.
Yes.
Never next season, things are going to kind of change a little bit because this is the last year in that Region 23. They usually go to the South Central region. Next year, that changes. They go to a new region next year.
Let me ask you a question since you called the game for Nunez.
Yes.
If Nunez wins this series, they win the series. Mm-hmm. Do we now have a rivalry between Nunez and Delgado? Can we finally call it a rivalry?
I think we already calling it a rivalry.
Okay.
Especially after what happened last season.
Okay.
I mean, despite Delgado dominated, all the games was very, very close. Especially the series against Nunez Delgado, the first series out there in Chalmette last season. All those games was really close, and Delgado found a way to win. Delgado is like a team, their team that really has Nunez number, but Nunez has been really coming up big lately. And I'm talking about competing isn't like, okay, you're going to have to really kill us if you're going to have to beat us because we're here. And that's what happened in the first series this year over at Delgado. 3 out of the 4 games, especially the finale, the Tuesday finale. That game went down to all the way to the 9th inning, and I tell you, Nunez had so many chances of winning that game and just came up short like that in a great ball game. And I think the final score was, 10-9 was the final score.
Ooh, wow.
10-9 was the final score that Tuesday night. The other games, I tell you, I think the first game was 4-3. The Sunday game, the final was, I believe, 5-4. So 3 out of the 4 was one-run games. The Tuesday games has been unbelievable. Even when BRCC played Delgado in Hammond, that game went to extras. Final score, Delgado 12, BRCC 10. So I tell you, the conference is tough in itself. You can't leave out BRCC. They're not doing as good, but you can't count them out because they could get on a little streak or something like that, and it could be a little dangerous team. But we just got to see. But right now, Delgado and Nunez are the top 2 in Region 23, with Delgado being that team. But for Nunez, you want to send a serious message this weekend that we're here. We know that you're the team, but we're going to be right there in the thick of things when it comes down to it. I just cannot wait to see what happens this weekend. I can't wait to see down the line what happens going into the Region 23 tournament, which will be in Hammond first weekend in May.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait for that.
Definitely. Thank y'all for tuning in, everybody. We truly appreciate it. Like we said a little while ago, subscribe to our YouTube pages. I'm JB, your sports guy. That's the name on YouTube. You see it right there on the ticker, the blue ticker. Also, subscribe to my good friend VK Jones. And if you cannot find it at VK Jones, it's under Vashon Jones. Did I say that correctly, sir?
Yep, Vashon Jones, VASHON K Jones. So find me and subscribe to both our pages, and we definitely appreciate it. What's going on with the Pelicans,
well,
man?
I was about to say that right when you finish saying your username for YouTube. 4 minutes and 16 seconds left in the second quarter. OKC 50, New Orleans 49.
Tight ball game
as of right now.
And I tell you, I just knew this game was going to be close right now. The way it's going, it's do or die tonight. It's do or die tonight.
And
like I said, no choice. And like I said, if the Pels know what's good for them, they got to do what they got to do. But like I said, I'm not underestimating OKC. Not at all.
Cannot underestimate OKC. And like I said when we started the show, I just don't know where the morale at of this team. With news coming out yesterday that Zion is physically ready to play, but mentally he's not. I don't know if that hurt the team morale or what? I don't know.
I,
But
I
stuff,
think I
stuff
think
like that can hurt.
it
Easily.
could hurt, but it shouldn't. They need to come with the mentality they had last year when they had the same situation and they play not to lose. But I know a couple people are missing. I think Alvarado being missed is a big loss. So everybody's got to step up. They've been in this situation before, and they got to take the bull by the horns and handle their business. Some people have been saying some things about C.J. McCollum. Here's my thing about C.J. McCollum, and me and George Peppers kind of talked about this.
Let me hear this. Let me hear it about C.J. McCollum.
Here's the thing about C.J. McCollum some people don't understand. And this is where the Pels is going to step up in the offseason. Y'all are going to have to leave him alone for one reason only. C.J. McCollum, for the last couple of seasons, have been playing out of position. They got him between the 1 and the 2. He's more of a 2 than anything else.
He is a 2.
Exactly. But they got him most of the time playing 1. So my thing is he's out of position. He's doing a little bit way too much to be asked for. So that's why the Pels in the offseason need to go find a good point guard. Good all around. Meaning passing, setting things up for people, but can score. My guy, if they can get him free agency, fine. My guy, I think they need to go get in the draft. He could be a second rounder, but I think they need to get him. The point guard from Kansas State. That's who they need to go get because he'll make an impact quickly because it ain't just the fact he can score. He can pass the ball. He can find people. So that's what the Pels need more than anything else. A true point guard that can make plays and they can really help the Pels get things going. And I'm like, the Pels, they got to keep CJ. The biggest thing is you got to put him in the right position. I think right now he's playing out of position.
I'm going to say this, my friend. I do not disagree with anything that you said. He's playing out of position. He is not a true point guard. He is a shooting guard. The only issue with C.J. McCollum that has happened a lot this year, and we saw it against Minnesota, there are times he will go cold and just stay cold. That's the issue that I've seen this whole year with CJ.
That's true.
So I'm not disagreeing with nothing you said.
Right.
What you said is true. But I'm saying
right.
when he has these open jumpers and knowing him as a great jump shooter, he goes cold. And then we saw him at the free throw line against Minnesota miss 2 or 3 in a row. That's unlike CJ. And I think that's mainly what people are talking about, like, yo, that's not what we saw in Portland.
Right, but the problem is, but here's the thing. You have to think. We didn't see that. We did. Yeah, you see that. We didn't see that. Well, we seen that in Portland. Why we not seeing it here? Because he had Dame Lillard. He had another scorer with him. That takes pressure off him.
He ain't got B.I. Brandon Ingram?
Huh?
Yeah, Brandon Ingram.
Well, Brandon Ingram is coming along since he's been coming off injury. I give him his credit. I'm just saying the fact that, sometimes that CJ does get cold. I'm not disagreeing. No, but the thing is, it's just the fact of the matter is this is a different situation. That's all it is. Now, Brandon Ingram has been here all season. He's just not too long coming back. He's been coming back. He's been playing the most of the second half of the year. Thank goodness. But if Brandon Ingram be healthy, it might be a different story for CJ. But then CJ's playing out of position too. So that's a lot for that man, bro. It's different in Portland because of the fact.
The only thing I'm saying is you saying he had Dame another scorer, and I'm saying he got another scorer with him here with B.I. and then with a healthy Zion.
That's true, but you got another guard with you. That's the thing too. B.I. can score, but he's a forward. You got a guy that's like being a combo. You know what I'm saying? Dame wasn't just a scorer. Dame was a disher too. So when you got two guards working beside each other, working side by side, it takes a lot of pressure from certain things. It's just the fact CJ a lot of times has got to do a little more than anything else because of the fact, he's got to score, but then you're going to have to dish it a little bit, maybe get some rebounds.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot for it. But for B.I., it's just the fact that if he was playing the whole year, it'd be maybe a different story. But the two, that's why I mentioned about got to try to get a point guard. Get somebody Take some pressure off.
I'll say this. When B.I. and Zion was out, CJ saw a lot of double teams come his way because they knew he's the only scorer on the court.
That's it.
Now, when he's on the court with Zion and Brandon Ingram, that double team's not coming.
No.
Now, I'm gonna say this. I said this since last year when CJ was running the point. You got to get a point guard, and that still hasn't happened. They got to get a real point guard. What you just said, the guy from Kansas State, I cannot remember his name, but yes, that guy has court vision like no other point guard right now from this past season of college basketball.
To me, probably the most impressive player I've seen in the NCAA tournament this season. This guy here has got game. He's got game. That little guard from the other little guard from San Diego State got game. That forward they got game from San Diego State. That big man, that big 7-footer, he got game from UConn.
Yeah.
And then then their shooting guard has some game with him too.
Yes, sir.
So like I said, but that point guard has been impressive, especially what I've seen him against Kentucky and Michigan State. I'm like, my goodness. And he still had a good game against Florida Atlantic too.
Yeah.
He's very consistent. And I would love for him to come to the Pelicans. I would love him to come to the Pelicans. He'll be a big time addition, especially what they have. And then in the offseason, I think they got to trade Zion. They got to find some value because I think this is it. You know, you should have just shown right then and there. Like if you can do this, come on and play. I could see if you would have said physically, I don't know if I'm ready or not. I'm trying, but I'm really not mentally ready. If you would have said that, I'd have been like, okay. But saying that, and it's just like last season. I'm like, I'm sorry. I want Zion to be successful, but he got to go. You're wasting not just the money, you're wasting the time of the Pels making progress.
I'll say this. His new contract kicks in next season. I think they're going to see what happens next season. And if we have the same thing with injuries left and right, not healthy, then I think they're going to make that move. But if he plays a healthy year next season, they're going to stick with it. I think they're going to give him one more year. Let's see what happens.
I'm like this. They gotta try to pull the trigger some way, somehow. Because I'm telling you now, the Pels, and this is my thing. The Western Conference, and I think the whole playoffs, except for the Eastern Conference, is wide open.
Mm-hmm.
To me, is this a year that the young teams, I don't know. Lakers, they got a chance to get there. And all these other teams. My rooting interest is for these young teams to rise. Is to rise. Is to finally say what I said last season. The Warriors, the Lakers, they're getting old. The young, fresh legs are coming, and they're going to take out the old people. We're not seeing it right now because where's the killer instinct? Denver has showed some killer instinct. Some. We have not seen it in the Grizzlies. We have not seen it with Utah. We have not seen it with all these other teams. The Kings have shown some kind of killer instinct, but they're the most youngest and inexperienced team going in the postseason. Now, if the veterans like the Lakers or the Warriors get to the Western Finals or the Finals, it would not be surprising because the veterans know everything. They got all the experience in the world. But these young teams rise up, it's just like I said. The Pelicans need to make a move sooner or later because the youngsters, like the Grizz, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Nuggets, they about to run shop in the West. They about to run shop. They got the right coaches. They just need the right pieces, but not just that. Most importantly, they need to have the chemistry. Denver, do they have a chance to get to the finals? Yes. Because the reason why they have the experience, they're the most experienced team outside the Lakers and the Warriors. People got to understand this. This is the same group that got to the Western Conference Finals in 2020. This is the same group, but you added other pieces. So if Denver can become what Milwaukee was when they won it all, because we was waiting, and when Milwaukee won, and I kept on saying, Milwaukee got to do something now because that team been together for too long. When a team's that together too long, something got to happen. Something got to happen. If it don't happen, it's over. Guess what? They won the title, and they're the favorites to me to win the whole NBA championship.
I'll say this. Let's always remember, playoffs are about matchups also.
Agreed.
Now, halftime, Pelicans 63, OKC 57. We're going to get into our last topic of the show. We're going to talk about this very quickly. I'm going to call it a wrap. We don't talk about mixed martial arts on this show enough. We really don't, but we're going to talk about it right now. UFC 287. Headlined by Israel Adesanya versus Alex Pereira. And Israel Adesanya once again became the middleweight world champion. What are your thoughts about the fight card quickly, VK? And I'll go after you.
It wasn't a bad card. It could have been better. I really thought the fight of the night. To be honest with you, I think the main event really was the spotlight of the night. All the other ones was kind of up and down. I thought the fight of the night was Kevin Gastelum in the main event of the prelims. I mean, that was who did he win against? And I think it was I believe it was wait. See,
I'm trying to find it right now.
I'm looking bad right now. We're not that bad on this show, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm saying? Like, we
got
get
the
a
main
little
card.
fatigue.
I don't have the prelim. I'm trying to see. Kelvin Gastelum defeated Chris Curtis.
Yeah, Chris Curtis. That was the fight of the night. That was a straight slugfest from the word go. And that was a great fight in itself. Gastelum got the win on unanimous decision. I thought it would be a split decision, but it was unanimous. But it was it was a great fight. Either one would have won that fight, but it was a great fight right there. What Adesanya did in the main event was amazing. You just knew that Pereira was very tough. Like he mentioned, he's a good champion. And he has had his number for a long, long time. But for him to pick his shots, to do what he did, he said it's a rope-a-dope, but I really thought it was a good strategy. I think all that Adesanya did, and it was a good strategy, was pick his spot. Because he knew how tough Pereira was, and he knew Pereira had the capabilities to take him down again. And he found a spot and got him, and it was just a big lift. But what I liked about Adesanya from the beginning, I have never seen a fighter. There's very few fighters I've seen in the UFC was focused like he did. He came to that ring so focused and humbled and focused like he did. Because I just knew right then and there, I'm like, Adesanya got it on his mind. He just know, I got a demon to slay. I got a demon I got to slay. Because this man has been haunting me for years. And for him to make that move, for him to knock him out, he got his swag back. He got his swag back. He met a guy that met his match, humbled him, and then all of a sudden, he knocked him down. I'm like, talk your stuff, dog. Talk your stuff. Because, bro, this is what I mean by emotions. Sometimes certain teams, certain opponents will beat you and humble you. Like me and this man here, like he a Shaw graduate, I'm a St. L graduate. We'll humble each other sometimes. But then when our team wins, the brag and all the emotions come out. That's what it is. And that's what the result is. And that's why society gotta stop being soft for what it is. But I just loved what happened afterwards and stuff. But that's big for Adesanya going forward to exercise his demons.
The move of him going onto the cage, there's a video of them training and working on that. There is a video. So this was a plan. This was a
Which is not
plan that worked.
surprising.
Yeah, it worked to fruition. Also, I want y'all to realize if you saw the first fight in round 1, it was the exact same punch that he connected with. The exact same type of punch. On top of on the cage, overhand right, and the round 1, Pereira was hurt, and the end of the round bell went off the horn. This one, he got hit, and then it's out of sight. Made sure he finished it this time. It was textbook of what they worked on. But I'm going to say this: Pereira's game plan of the leg kicks were working because it was starting to hurt.
Yes,
Adesanya was starting to hurt. You can see him switch stances.
Yes,
it was working. So
it was. That's why I was saying Pereira was really tough because you have to think.
He tough.
I mean, he could have knocked him out any time, and it made me think of the time and that Spider Silva broke his leg because of how Weidman kept on kicking him, kept on kicking the shin, and all of a sudden, as soon as Spider get a kick, he broke his stuff.
Uh-huh.
So I was feeling a little scared for Adesanya because of the fact that Pereira was starting to weigh him down early with them kicks in the leg, and I was like, man. You got to make a move or something because, bruh, he gonna get worn out. So, but big ups for him to find a way.
Yes, big ups for Adesanya. Now, I'm gonna talk about this, and we're gonna call it a wrap. I gotta go talk about Jorge Masvidal. I have to talk about Jorge Masvidal. Yes, he lost to Gilbert Burns, and I told a lot of people this wouldn't even be a close fight. And people are like, "Oh, you crazy, man? Jorge Masvidal will knock him out." Let me tell y'all something, bro. Y'all got on this Jorge Masvidal train when he knocked out Ben Askren with that flying knee for 4 seconds when Ben Askren, who was to me the most overrated MMA fighter ever, and I was glad when that happened because Dana White traded for Ben Askren and sent Mighty Mouse to 1 to get Ben Askren because he was upset that Mighty Mouse wouldn't move up in weight. So I was so happy when Ben Askren got knocked out like that. Because is he more was never that good, in my opinion.
Is he more overrated than the California Kid?
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
You know what? You know how he's so overrated? Ben Askren comes to the UFC, fights 2 fights, loses both of them, and then retires. Get out of here, man. He wasn't even 30 years old, bro. Get out of here. Compare him to GSP and everything. Oh, yeah, well, they fight. Oh, man, please. Man, anyway, back to Jorge Masvidal.
Go ahead.
Back to Jorge Masvidal. That was it, people. What other fights did he win? Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz decides to box with him. Nate Diaz not a boxer. When Nate Diaz fight Jake Paul in his boxing match, Jake Paul gonna destroy him because Nate Diaz cannot box with anybody. Conor, Jorge. Wait. He can't box.
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop you a little bit. I'm gonna stop you. Is it? Is Nate Diaz a better street fighter than a boxer?
Yeah, he's a street fighter. He got a little jiu-jitsu. He got a little wrestling. He can do that.
Okay.
Every time Nate Diaz decides to stand up with people in a ring to box, he gets destroyed.
Okay.
Now, you gotta kill Nate Diaz to beat him. You gotta kill him.
You see? My man. See, you see what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like I talked about when Nate Diaz beat up what's his name that first time? He beat up the Conor McGregor, which I totally loved because I said it myself. I know Conor got him back, but I said it. I called that win because I said it myself. That man made his match. You want to talk that stuff? You gonna have to kill this man if you gonna have to win because the dude ain't gonna lay down.
Look,
he's not laying down.
Conor was beating the mess out of Nate for 1.5 rounds and got tired like that because all his power punches were not knocking him out. But back to Jorge.
Go ahead, back to
Jorge. Okay, who he beat? Let's be real. Who he beat?
He ain't beat nobody. I was hoping
Darren Till, Ben Askren, he beat them and he beat Nate. Other than that, didn't beat Usman. He couldn't beat Gilbert Burns. And Kobe Covington just embarrassed him.
I ain't gonna lie, the Usman fight, and I thought he would give Usman a better fight, but I wasn't surprised what happened. You know what I'm saying? And then I was hoping that he would at least like. I think Masvidal is okay, but at the same time, I was hoping the motivation with him being at home, possibly his last fight,
Ah,
that he would at least. I'm just saying though, man. I'm not. Look, I'm not one of them fans. I'm not one of them diehard fans. I'm just saying. I just hope this thing is a good fight. All the hype about it. I think the dude has worked hard to get where he need to be, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, we know how good Gilbert Burns is. Get this man a fight. If Gilbert Burns win, let it be close. And the way it would look, it wasn't close. And I was like, God dog, man.
wasn't close at all, bro. Not at all.
That just didn't look good. I just nodded my head. I was like, this ain't looking good.
No,
I was like, especially the last round. I was like, all right, bro, you got to knock him out.
Gilbert was bing, 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 bing. And I'm gonna say this: if he would have fought Kevin Holland in that hotel or on the streets, Kevin Holland would have whooped.
Kevin
But
Holland.
anyway,
Kevin Holland is one dude that's coming up, bro. He
oh,
coming
yeah,
up
without
a
a
bit,
doubt.
man. He ain't playing no games, bro.
I'll say this, and we'll close the show. I'll say this though: it was time for Jorge to go ahead and retire. At 39 years old, he has over 50 fights. 50 fights does weigh its toll on you.
Yeah.
And early in his career, he was a knockout artist. People in America love the knockouts, of course, but other than that, he was not beating nobody, ladies and gentlemen. And he's gonna always be a fan favorite of everyone, especially even Chris Lieben was a fan favorite because Chris Lieben went in there to knock people out. So hats off to Jorge. Yes, hats off. I respect him. Don't get me wrong.
And I respect Jorge how he carries himself a bit, and on top of that, he wasn't one of them Dana White yes men. You know what I'm saying? So I really respect that about him because he's not one of his guys. You know what I'm saying? Because we know who his guy, who Dana's guys are.
Conor and Kobe Covington, of course. We know who the two are.
And they ain't did a god doggone thing in title fights. So except for Conor for a while, but then all of a sudden he ain't champ no more.
He never defended the belt.
And then also we can't forget about Ronda. So can't forget about that.
Yes,
gave her the freaking title. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but she defended it. She defended it for us. She defended it.
Regardless of the fact, most overrated UFC champion ever, because I'm sorry. After what Nunez did, it was just the fact of the matter is, you ain't fought nobody. You should have earned your stuff. That's what it is. No disrespect to her being the first female champion, but I can't respect that because they've been listen to me.
Stop it.
They've been
I know how
listen.
you feel. I know how you feel that the belt was given to her and it wasn't a fight to deem a champion. I get you on that. I'm not going to debate you on that at all. None of that. But to say she was the most overrated champion when she defended that belt about a good 7 times, VK? No, she is not the most overrated champion.
She did defend it against mostly.
Yes.
I'm listen. I agree with you, but there are some fighters that was not that good except for Holly Holm, who put her in check. But at the same time, like, is she the greatest champion of all time women's? No, it's Amanda Nunez.
I agree with that too, that Amanda Nunez is the greatest women's champion. I do agree with that.
Yeah, Ronda. Now, Ronda, I the one credit I'm gonna say this, I do give her. She did defend those titles. She did defend it. Had 7 title defenses. Okay, good job. I give her that. You know what I'm saying? But I just knew right then and there, I can't respect the fact that you were given that. But see, at the same time,
but you can't blame her for that. That's Dana White that made the decision.
I know, but regardless, you're part of the blame. That's all it is. Like the credit I do give her is the fact you did show how good you are. You did show
defenses.
6. You did show how good you are. You know what I'm saying? Now the one girl that really, really had her was your girl, but she messed around and got knocked out.
Armbar again. It was the armbar again.
That wasn't.
Tell him again, Brandon Soche. Ronda was a beast. Yes, she was.
What was your girl name? The one
Misha Tate.
Misha Tate. Misha Tate had the girl, messed around, and got herself messed up. So, but at the same time, yeah, she was a good champion. not the greatest, but she was a good champion.
No, I won't say the greatest either. I'll put that on Amanda Nunez.
Man.
Still messed up that the Cyborg Ronda Rousey match never happened, but we got to see Amanda Nunez and Cyborg, and that was that.
And that's what the greatest one right there, because I was like, when she did the Cyborg, I was like, oh my God, we have a new goat.
Yes,
your goat was Ronda. Your goat ain't no more after that. Because I think Ronda. I think it was a disagreement between Ronda and Cyborg that it just didn't happen.
It was a weight class.
It was a weight class. So
Ronda wanted her to come down. Cyborg wanted her to come up. That's what it was, and it never worked out. But
guess what? Amanda's going against what's her name again?
See,
I told you there had to be a trilogy. I told you that. Because the thing is, in all trilogies, if an opponent has a win, you got to go a third time. You have to. We didn't see it too long in sports. Yeah, it don't matter how she beat her. She beat her once. There got to be a third time to go forward. And at the same time, her opponent had to earn that spot, and she went and got it. And now it's another rematch. I said it myself. They're going to battle again. Because who else in the division is going to step up? That was my biggest thing. Like, nah, there should be a rematch. Yes, it is. Who else in the division? If somebody else who step up besides who Nunez is fighting again one more time? Juliana Pena, who's a hell of a fighter. I was like, okay, who else is going to step up? Because if Pena wind up winning one of those fights against those top girls, Pena go get the rematch. There's nobody else in the division. Because Amanda done took everybody out. She in the same situation as Mighty Mouse. And maybe some other fighters who has taken out the entire division. Okay. So it's obvious. You gotta go with Pena, and this is the last time they're gonna battle, because the fact of the matter is somebody is gonna move on from this battle. Pena is a very great fighter. I think it's gonna be a good fight again, but I think Nunez is gonna win it again.
Nunez is gonna dominate like she did in the second fight, plain and simple.
I think I'm not gonna say that. I think Nunez will win, but it's gonna be a closer fight because of the fact that Pena is gonna look at that film and Pena gonna be ready. I think Nunez is gonna win, but don't be surprised that thing might go the entire 5 with Nunez winning.
We're 5 in the second fight.
Nunez used her. Nunez was a better fighter.
Dominated. And she and beat her.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you. Nunez was the better fighter that night.
Yeah.
But this time it's gonna go the distance. It's gonna be close, but Nunez will come out with the win. You know what I'm saying?
50-45 on all scorecards.
I said Nunez 50-48. It's gonna look like, all I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna look like Gustafson.
You mean 48-47, 3 rounds to 2? That what you mean?
Yeah. 48-47. 48-40. I'm gonna say this. It's gonna be it's gonna look like Gustafson and Jones, and when they came out of the last round. That's how that fight's gonna be when they go against each other again.
All right. We thank y'all for tuning in. Subscribe to our YouTube pages. My YouTube page, JB, a sports guy. My good friend, his YouTube page, VK Jones, or for Sean K. Jones. Yes, sir. What you got to say?
And tune in Saturday, Delgado and Nunez. That will be a 1:00 start of the doubleheader on Saturday. TSBNsports.com, and then we'll be back Sunday with the 9-inning finale, 1 p.m. Join us. Come to North Suarez Stadium. Support both Nunez and Delgado. But if you can't come out, watch the game. I'll put the links up on Facebook and all on social medias and stuff like that. And I got a story on the Hanville-Destrehan baseball game on Crescent City Sports. Go and check out the story and the replay of the game. It was an absolute classic baseball game yesterday as Hanville won in the bottom of the 7 on a wild pitch, 2-1.
Woo, what a game.
2-1. And both pitchers for Hanville and Destrehan had unbelievable performances. I mean, the Destrehan pitcher had 8 strikeouts, going 5.5. The pitcher for Hanville had the complete game win, and he had 11 strikeouts. So that was a great game. So go back and watch that, please. But please support us. Like,
Yes,
share, and
please.
tag this show. We'll be back next week. We're getting bigger and better than we ever been. We're starting to blow out all the other podcasts out there who are watching us on YouTube. If you want to have us on, come look for us on YouTube. Come look for us. We got our Instagrams and all that stuff. Come look for us, man. We'll definitely come on your shows, talk sports, all that good stuff. But we're gonna have some bigger and better guests. You know, hopefully we're gonna have a former Shaw Eagle on the show soon. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, man. Hit on my Instagram, my brother. You know, but like I said, we understand, but invitation on the table. But to be honest with you, we gotta chop it up, my friend. We really need to talk. So that's all it is. But continue to support us on the Hash It Out show. Hey, brother, I'm trying to get us blown up, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been in this game too long, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't say anything.
This is
I didn't
not.
say
Nah,
anything.
the look is like, what are you doing?
No, dude, I really just sitting here listening to you. I really was just sitting listening. I know I had the look on. I had the look on purpose, like when we talked about whoever.
Oh yeah, I
really
get it.
sitting and listen to you.
I get it, man. We try.
Yeah,
All I know, we're a team. We're trying to blow up, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been, I introduced him to this.
He did.
We working together now, and I feel more than anything, we're a package deal. So my thing is, if you want me on, you got to get him on too. You know, that's all it is. And then at the same time, bro, we do this for fun. We love what we do.
We love what we do.
But at the same time, we would like to have a little compensation, just a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit to help us in our movement.
About the money. It ain't about the money. We do this for the love of the sports.
That's it. And we're trying to grow more. You know what I'm saying? Sooner or later,
right.
we're gonna do live remotes and all that stuff. We didn't already did on location interviews.
Yes, we have.
And we're gonna continue to do that too. You know what I'm saying? Yes. LSU women's basketball. Hopefully we'll see you on the show soon. But regardless of the fact, man, we appreciate y'all. Continue to support us on the Hash It Out show.
And that was your VK Jones rant of the day. All right. Back to me, the host. Here we go. For my man VK Jones, everybody. All right. Thank you enough, my brother. All the time. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it, man.
For Coach Paul Mainieri, for Coach Glenn Powell, and for all of you who tuned in today, making this the most live audience we ever had. Most number of people today that watch live. Thank y'all so much. We cannot do this without y'all. We cannot do it without y'all. Y'all make this show go as far as we want it to go. If we're gonna grow, we need y'all to grow with us. That's the most important thing.
And come on back next week.
Here it come.
I just wanted to say, come on back next week, fellas. Please,
yes,
ladies and gentlemen, please come on back.
We'll be back next week. More likely next Wednesday, we'll be back again. Thank y'all for tuning in. Come back next week. We thank y'all, and y'all take care.